This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, I think we'll start. For anybody that's a newcomer to Kesher Nafshi, I think you've learned by now that there's Kesher Nafshi timing. There's actual timing and then there's Kesher Nafshi time. So we're quite on time for Kesher Nafshi time. We're actually early. We're starting early today. Okay, how do we wrap up a Shabbos like this? We all want to wrap up all the information, the chizik and all the amazing speeches and the environment, the vibes. We're going home to face the same reality that we left Erev Shabbos. Facing the same reality. We were like in a little cocoon, like a little island over here, away from all the chaos, enjoying and appreciating, something new, feeling and understanding and sharing. And then we have to go back. We're facing the same music. If you're waiting for me to give you the magic button, that's not. It doesn't exist. But one thing is for sure, that every piece of chizik and everything that we need is definitely helping us and giving us koyach. I always say that chizuk has a very short shelf life. It's like milk. It's good. It's nutritional. It tastes good. It's everything, but it's a very short shelf life. There's expiration date. You could hear a story, listen to a story. You could have a story in your own life, a crazy hashgacha protest like this one or that one, how it should have happened, and we're inspired. And a few days later, if I stop a person off the street and say, "Give me 3 stories of hashgacha protest," then I'm going to be able to say. But throughout our life, we've heard so many. There's expiration date. We forget. There's a Yetzer Hara. It doesn't want us to remember all these inspiration and chizik that we have in our minna, and definitely not the way we should deal with challenges and this challenge. So we hear, we get excited, we get energized, we're ready to face, and then it wears off. So that's why it's very, 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 very important, very vital to check into wherever you're living. If you're living in an area where Kesher Nafshi has the support groups, you should try to show up. It's something that's very important and very very helpful, to say the least. If because we need it, we constantly need. You could always go online and check out more shirim and listen to old lectures that were given or throughout the other Shabbatons. This is something that we need because chizik is something that wears out, so we constantly need more. There's a story of the Panay Menachem. The story of the Panay Menachem, the previous Gerer Rebbe. He was the Rosh Hashiva before he became Rebbe. He was the Rosh Hashiva in Ger. And there was one boy, an American boy, in Yeshiva. He was like the top student, the A student, the Metzion Bucher. And whatever, he was off the charts. His comprehension, he was smart, he was brilliant, he was a serious boy. And the Panay Menachem was always mishtashai given, how do you say? It was always, whenever he passed by the book, he always threw to him a shala and threw back an answer. He was he loved for bringing time with this book. This book was and he always used to tell, and everybody knew that the Rosh Hashiva, the Panay Menachem, loves this book. There's something about him. A few months later, the father of this boy came to Eretz Yisrael, and everybody's raving about this boy. Your son is like mamish, the Metzion, the Rosh Hashiva, the Panay Menachem loves him, and he's like mamish. And he got so much nachas. And when he went to the Panay Menachem, he spoke to him about his son. He said, "Yeah, your son learns good, yeah." And nothing special. He didn't say anything. And then he left the room, and he's wondering, why did the Rosh Hashiva tell me your son is special and he's doing great and he's mamish nachas? So the next day, after davening, he saw the Panay Menachem again. He went over to him, and he was hoping the Rebbe was going to tell him. He was waiting for that nachas, to get a good word from the Panay Menachem about his son. And the Panay Menachem doesn't say anything. Yeah, Baruch Hashem, your son learns fine. So he says, Rebbe, I'll be honest with you, I'm craving it. I want you to tell me what you really feel about my son. I hear from everybody that whenever you have a major sugi that you need to work through. You always use my son for it. He's the tachshit of the yeshiva, and why don't you tell me anything? He says, I'll tell you why. He says, I had a step sibling. The Imre Emes got remarried to a woman, and she had a child. So it's a stepbrother. That stepbrother was drafted to the war, to the army in Poland. Father Mechuma, I forgot the name of that bucher, his brother, stepbrother. And the mother went into the Imre Emes, the second wife, the mother of this boy, and she was crying to the Imre Emes. She said, Rebbe, my dear husband, Rebbe, you're able to poil yeshivas for everybody. What's with my son? He's being drafted to the army. So in those years, it was over. It was nothing. And he said, no, the Eibsh is a helfen. He said, no, give me a promise. Say, do something more. Why you just said, Eibsh is a helfen? And then the boy came into his father's, his stepfather, and said, Tata, So he told him, no, the Eibsh is a helfen. And then the Imre Emes came into shul and took a few guys, said, we're going to say Tillim, and they shook a world. And Baruch Hashem, he wasn't drafted. It was mamish miraculous that he wasn't drafted to the war, to the army. So she went and she asked her father, she asked her husband, why didn't you tell me? So Panay Menachem was telling this to the father of this boy. He said that, yes, Taki, I'm going to daven and I'll do it. I have chesuvas, whatever it is, I'm able. But the tefillah of a mother for a child is something that's more important, that still needs to go on, even regardless. I could poil Yeshi and Shemayim. So he said, if I would tell you how special your son is, you would stop davening for him. You would say, my son is perfect. I'm a chaya. He said, no. For you, I wouldn't tell you that your son is like Mamash the Metziah and Bucher, because I want you to continue davening for your child, and daven for him as an Eilachid, and all of his life should be Matzliach. So after all advice, and all the chizuk and everything, at the end of the day, the tefillahs of us parents, for all of our children. I once heard from the Malach Biderman, he said that, I think Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said that there was one of the people in his shul that had a child that was struggling, like one of our kids, the mamash, and the mother or the father were davening for that kid, and in the end that kid turned around, by all of us, and became special, not stam. And he told the Rav Shlomo Zalman, he said, look at this, all my kids are already 30, 40 years old, and this son is better than all my other kids. So Shlomo Zalman told him, because you davened for that kid, you forgot to daven for your good kids at home. So that kid got all the tefillahs and all the things. You have to daven for everybody, for the ganze. So we should continue davening, we should continue picking up chizuk, because that's something that we constantly need, and tefillah and chizuk and inspiration and advice is something that we constantly need. Today we're going to talk about the family dynamics of the whole family when it comes to dealing with some children that are struggling. The whole Shabbos was focused in and zoomed in, basically mainly on the children that are going through their struggles, and it feels very demanding from us speakers onto the parents. Although I'm a parent myself in the same situation, it feels like we're putting a lot of the emphasis, a lot of the koiches, and a lot of the all and the achrayas. And maybe some people take it as guilt that I'm not doing enough for my struggling child. So I think I want to wrap up the Shabbos. I think it's very important we should understand what the real message of Kesher Nafshi is. Last night by the skit, by the Melav Malka, we started with that topic. I felt it was very, very important to talk about it. To zoom it into one bumper sticker, into a one-liner, or elevator pitch, how do you want to call it? It's one-liner to understand what the whole mahalach of Kesher Nafshi, the whole idea is building a deep, meaningful, healthy relationship with your child. And we take it as we have to build a deep, meaningful relationship with the child that's struggling, which is true, but we mean that with all of our children. All of our children are going to benefit from us learning and advancing and understanding how psychology works and how the children work and how chinuch, advanced chinuch works. Obviously for the children that are struggling, we need to learn methods, how to do it, how to overcome our own, we shouldn't project our own issues onto our children and, not make them feel guilty and everything else that we preached over here. throughout Shabbos. But it's the same method. It's the same mahalach. Building a relationship and building healthy attachment. What a child needs, every single child in our family needs it. There's over here for Shabbos saying Amanda sitting near him, and he's a sibling of a child. He told me in the beginning when his parents came to Kesher, we're talking about one of the first Shabbosim, and his parents were zooming in only on that sibling. In the beginning he loved it. It was like, oh, finally my parents have some kind of method on how to deal with that child. But what happened to all of us? And they felt neglected. He said after a few other Shabbosim his parents came, he benefited so much because his parents started connecting to him and his sister at a much higher level, a deeper level, so it really actually healed him. That's the goal. That's the real goal. The goal is not only to zoom in on the child that's struggling, but through the struggling child, we are becoming more advanced. Literally, every person that joins a Shabbos like this, you know it by now. You become your own therapist. You become your own. You really understand what's going on in your child's mind. You're able to understand that every single behavior of every single person is an outcome of something caused, the good and the bad. We become people that are able to see beyond. We're able to see neshumas, not just bodies. We're able to see the person for who they are. We're able to understand that everybody has taki bechira, everybody has choice, but in different places. Some children waking up in the morning is it's the hardest thing for them. So before coming to Shabbos like this, we would judge them. The good kids, all of them are good, but the easy child. But really, every single person, including ourselves, we all know our own shortcomings, our own inner battles, our own inner fears, our own inner insecurities, and everything else that we have, that we understand. We become psychologically aware. We understand that it's all of the children. Everybody is just working. That's the way it is. And if you have a child we call it the APK. You know what APK is? The autopilot kid. It's just you know what an autopilot kid is? That child that just you put him into nursery, and she or he is always never an issue, going through school, grade A, always perfect, friends, social, academically, like one of those kids. Even that APK also has many, many, many different inner issues and insecurities that they have. And by having in their family a struggling child, a struggling sibling, the parents become aware of what's going on with the healthy child that also needs a lot of help, which many of them need help after the chasana. It comes out later. Just a second. I think that one of the greatest things that we learn in Kesher Nafshi, I'm just going to put it into my own words, but basically what's happening is the way we judge people, the way we understand other people around us, is usually we see the way they're levish that they're wearing. You see a person coming to shul, you see a person shopping the grocery, and someone dresses a certain way. You right away assume that person is a who knows what. But once you get to know the person, you see the person dresses that way, but inside the person is could be the highest level. And sometimes you see the other way around. They could be dressing perfect and everything. And so the gauge, we have to switch the way we gauge success in our children. The way we the barometer, right? Like in the car, in the dashboard, what is it called? There's barometers that tells you what's going on, how much gas you have, and how much the battery's up to, and then how fast you're going. Those are barometers. The person that doesn't come to Shabbos Kesher Nafshi, a person that never came here, uses the typical, what everybody uses, type of gauge, the way we gauge other people, the way we gauge success. In school, they gauge success as the girl that comes on time, the bucher that learns is the yeshiva that comes to daven and joins, whatever. That's the way they gauge a gita bucher. It's like you see when it comes to shadichim, sometimes you ask information on a boy, and the bucher is tight of talks. He's always on time. It's beautiful. The way a Magid has to gauge a bucher, it's awesome. But who said that this boy is going to be a good husband? Maybe he's going to be the worst husband ever. There's another whole different set of qualities and skills that the person has to have to be able to be a successful husband, a successful father. And it's the other way around, right? So it depends. We always need to have different gauges. So as parents of struggling teens, and listening to all the shirim that go on over here, we eventually, hopefully, the goal is to get us to start gauging where are our children up to emotionally. Do they have? Are they functioning? Are they sleeping at night? Are they eating normal? What's their social life? Of course, what's their learning and what's their everything else? Where they're up to. There are different ways of seeing a child. There are different ways of gauging where my child is up to. I had a person that came to me of a Shabbos, and she was talking about a child, and then she was talking about her husband. She's very upset the way he runs the Shabbos table. She was very fixed on the Shabbos table. I understand Shabbos table is very nice, very, very important. It's one of the amazing parts in Yiddishkeit, and she says her husband doesn't know how to sing. He's tone deaf, and it's very boring, and that's why. And I understand the pain. Some people come from Shabbos tables where it's like 2 hours or 3 hours of Gan Eden on this world. It's beautiful, and we should all try to do that. But let's say your husband is not able to do that. He's not able to. And I asked a few more questions. He learns with his son and he plays with them on the floor, under the table with the little ones, which other men that have a beautiful Shabbos table don't do it. So there's many different ways of gauging success. There's many different ways of gauging an issue, of understanding of, is there something going on? So what we're learning over here is that we need to be in tune in our children in a total different aspect. Not in their success, in their learning and everything else, which is very nice. We're gauging where our children are up to emotionally. This is what we are trying to convey, the message on understanding that when we gauge another Yid, and your spouse, and yourself even, but now we're talking about our children, we're talking about all the children. How do we gauge success? The child that wakes up on time, that you never have to wake up. We have one child that's sleeping and you have to wake them up 6 times, that press the snooze button, and another kid just... So, this is a good kid. That good kid has certain things that's killing them from the inside. And we wouldn't realize it if we wouldn't have one child that's a struggling teen and the parents are starting to gauge and see things different. The Hashem HaKudosh taught us that when we see people, we should just see neshumas. Don't gauge them on their behavior. Last week, Shabbos, I was in Etzisruel, and I spoke to boys over there. There's a Shabbos for Bukhrim, for good boys, Gishmaki Gita Bukhrim. I was talking to them, I bring with them throughout the Shabbos, and I was telling the boys, a lot of the Bukhrim, they struggle with nisyonos, if you know what I mean. It's one of the... Every teenage Bukhar has to struggle with that, and growing and knowing how to work it through. And that's definitely a conversation, how to teach it to them and how they should work on it. And what happens is, they start bashing themselves because they fall through with certain things, and then they start going into a place where I'm a balavita anyway, and they can't grow out of it. Girls also have it in different aspect. So I was telling the Bukhrim, I took out a few Chassidish Svurim, and I was sharing with them a few with Bekoides, that a person has to try their best. That's all Hashem wants. Kefim tzara agra, the Gemara says, according to your effort, that's how you're getting paid in Shemaim. Not according to your accomplishments. When you fix a car, you take your car, it's broken, you go to the mechanic, they could be working on it for 3 hours, they didn't fix it, you don't pay them. If they fixed it, you pay them. In Shemaim, it works the other way around. If you became a good person, you didn't, doesn't matter. Hashem only pays you on the effort, on the koiches you put in. That's the only way Hashem pays us. According to the effort you put in, that's the way Hashem judges us. So I said, Ta'ir Bukhara, you are what your roots is, not what your deeds are. Of course, you have to try to make your deeds better. Your Maaseh Tovim. Don't judge yourself according to your success in your Avodas Hashem and overcoming Yetzer Hara and all the other things. Of course, you have to work on that. You are what your roots is, what you want to be. That's who you are. If I'm not, I'm not able to implement it, I'm not able to actually do it, because I have a huge Yetzer Hara. But you are not what you do, you are what you want to be. It's, again, for a bezdin, for a court, a person comes in and the bezdin, the dayan, has to paskin according to your deeds. I get it. Because they can't say, I was angry and the guy made me arrogant, that's why I shoot him. I shot him. You shot someone. In this world, the bezdin could have... But a person for themselves, the way I see myself, the way I see my children, I have to gauge where their roots is, not what they're able to do. If my child has a roots to want to be the best bucher in yeshiva, the best girl, she has a roots to be tzniusdik, her Yetzer Hara is big as the world. That's not who she is. If I see it that way, and I tell my child that I see her that way, and I see myself that way, then I'll continue. I'll continue working, I'll continue fighting. My child will continue fighting to do their best. Because eventually, we will prevail. But it starts with the rootzen. The moment a person doesn't understand this concept, they try a few times and then they say, okay, I worked so many times on myself, I'll go into easy Avera. Lushan Hara, unspeakable Avera. Okay, I spoke many times. I'm a bad Lushan Hara, get Shabbos, I can't give. No, it's all about trying all your life. You could be standing in Kippur and say, I know I was standing here last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I took a promise and said, I'm never going to talk Lushan Hara again. And he said, come on, I'm a hypocrite. No, Hashem wants you rutzen. We get paid for trying, we don't get paid for succeeding. Hashem said, medaf tiin, medaf nish oftin. You got to do, you don't have to accomplish, it's up to Hashem. If someone is accomplishing, doesn't mean they'll get as much schar as you for just trying and not accomplishing. Because you're getting paid according to your effort. And that's a gauge, that's a new way of the way we see our children. That's all of our children. In all their ways. We are able to see through the avodah of the person, of what are they working on. And he say, my dear child, I see you're really trying. I see you're trying. It's amazing. Your brother gets up like easy and it takes you a long time because it's harder for you. And your brother has something else that he's struggling with. All of us have different places that we need to work on. We all came down to this world to work on quite a few things. And when your child, all your children know that that's the way you are gauging their success and how much their effort they're putting in, they will continue trying. And this is the second thing that I told the Bukhrim last week. I said you could do something officially and unofficially. Once you accept yourself, oh, this is who I am, I talk Lashon Hara, then you become a Baal Lashon Hara, a Baal Aveira, the person that's actually that kind of a person. I gave them a mashal. I said there's a truck driver and there's someone that drives a truck. Someone that drives a truck, that's the panusa that Hashem gave them. They found a job, they make panusa, he drives a truck. Then there's a truck driver. He lives in trucks. He comes into his house, there's tiny miniature trucks all over. He knows the name of every truck in the world. Even if it doesn't work anymore in truck, he's a truck driver. And that's someone that drives a truck. That's someone that does Averas. That's someone that's a Baal Aveira. You see it in the Misasfurim, the Chsitzur, there's a Baal Aveira, there's someone that does an Aveira. What's the difference? We all do Aveira, we all have struggles. Once you do it officially, you don't have that guilt, you feel good, that's the issue. Say, no, I want to wake up in the morning, I don't want to talk Hashem, I want to be successful, I want to do Rutz Hashem. I'm not succeeding, I have a huge answer. Okay. As long as you're trying, you're good to go. And Hashem will pay you for your effort. Once you give up, that's where the issue starts. That's when it becomes like official. This is who I am. If I do something officially, that's when the issue is. Kastin an avaida for tziel and ima for tziel. Officially and unofficially. So this is another way of seeing. I'm telling you, I have a high school for girls that are going through their own journeys. The amount of effort of each and every girl in our place, I'm telling you, the schar that these kids are going to get is 1,000-fold more sometimes than other people. The Gemara says that, what's his name, went up to one of the Tanum, so in Shemayim, Chas the Choyra Pargit, and he said, what did I see in Shemayim? They asked, what did you see over there? He says, Al-Yoinim Lamatu V'Tachtoinim L'Malu. People that are on this world, consider the Al-Yoinim, the people that are successful in their avodas Hashem, are sitting in the back, and people that are Lamatu are sitting up. Why? It's only according to effort. The only thing that the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from us is effort, and true effort, and real effort, but effort, not success. Success is up to Him. Pinchas Karitza talks about it. You shouldn't feel like a Balgaya that you're success. I have a sheet every morning, and I do, and I come. I'm like the perfect businessman. I'm a Ben Torah. Don't take it for granted. You're able to do it. It's a gift from Hashem. The other person that's not able to do it, but he wants to every day, really trying to, could be getting much more schar than you actually doing it. It's all about the effort, and we have to see this in all of our kids, their effort, their struggles, and start gauging them according to where they're trying to do. And then we gauge them according to their emotional needs. We gauge them according to their social ability. Not everybody's able to have a good social life, and it hurts them. They're not able to communicate. They lose friends. They make friends. They're not successful in that way, and then they could drop out from school for that alone. So you could have an A student child that wakes up on time and goes on time, and then sooner, I don't know what happened. My child, like out of the blue, like this was a kid that was an A student. I heard it 20 times throughout the Shabbos, and hundreds of times throughout all the other Shabbos that we're here. Because we were gauging the wrong thing. We need to know how to gauge a child, a successful child, an unsuccessful child. If we gauge them according to their effort and according to whatever they're struggling, what their needs are, and their fears and their worries and their social life and whatever else they need in their mental capacity, we gauge them according to that, they'll stay there. Because they'll continue fighting. Because whatever they're not being successful with is, I didn't get there yet. It's still unofficial. They're still not going to do it because this is who I am. I'm still trying to. And this is the ganze avoida of a yid on this world. Machavusa Ba'iluma is trying. And this is something that we, as Kesher Nafshi parents, as people that are living in this Nisayan, is not only to zoom in on the child that's struggling and see them on their struggles and the way they see it. We zoom in on all the kids in the house. We become better parents to all of our children. We give them extra. And you know what? A lot of people ask, what do I do with the other kids? For this kid that's struggling, I'll give them a little extra presents. I give them extra, they need extra pocket money, whatever they need. And the other kids are jealous. You know what? The other kids also need to get a little bit more. It's bashet for them as much as we can. If it's extra time, extra attention, extra love, extra hug, do it. They also need, yes, it's hard for them. It's hard for them as well. But this is going to make them grow. Just like Hashem didn't ask you, at least not in this world. Of course it says it's from Hashem asked you before you came down. But as far as we remember, Hashem didn't ask you this to give you this child, the struggling child. He didn't ask them if they should have a struggling sibling. And if they have a struggling sibling that comes home and brings home new stuff to our house that we didn't like, they're going to grow better. It's going to be good for them. We say, but how? We wanted our house to be sheltered. We wanted our house to look a certain way. And this kid is bringing in new stuff and new ideas. And Tata and Mami used to be so strict about certain things. And they had some principles and ideas. And Shita is how our house is supposed to look like. And then suddenly everything is out of the window. And we switch around. Guess what? That's what they needed. You have to see it just like a physical illness. Chaz v'shalom. A family has one child that's going through illness. The whole family... This is something, it's bashet for everybody. It's not only for us parents. And guess what? In every challenge, there's an opportunity. There is no challenge that came down on this world to any person in the world without an opportunity in that challenge. Believe me, I've been through quite a few challenges in my life. Quite a bit. And I found, not because I'm a tzaddik, because I just had the right people around me in the right time to teach me that there is a opportunity in every challenge. And if your other kid comes and asks you, why Taka do we need to keep Shabbos? And you're like broken inside. This is something you would never expect from your A student child to ask you. And only because the other kid is being Mechal Shabbos or doing something, and he's like all broken, and you get, okay, I understand it, I feel it, I can validate it. It's very painful. I'm living it, I know. But you know what? You have to think, what's the opportunity in this challenge now? The opportunity is that I'm able, if my child wouldn't ask me, I would never get into the whole conversation, I'm able to give them the beauty of Yiddishkeit. I was never told. I know, I saw my father, Shabbos was a Shabbos. It came over to me, I was APK in that way. But you know what? our other kids, it's opening a door, it's opening communication, it's a portal to way more expandable and understanding and knowledge of Yiddishkeit and Geschmack. And you know what? The other kids are not going to go with the flow, with the stream of the world so quickly, like other kids that were not told the beauty of Yiddishkeit. The values of a Yid, the value of a Yiddish neshama, the value of a Yiddish home, the value of a Shabbos table and a Tuesday night supper table. And the value of a mother waking up and getting out of bed and getting all the kids dressed. And the kids see this. This is something that doesn't exist in the world around us. We're living in open with the world, but Tzat Shiny, we're living in a taiva, in a mabel around us. And that's why we're fighting, that's what we're trying to. The mabel around us, the people around us, it's a pachad to see how far they are from us. A Yiddish ahos. But our kids think this is the way it is. And then when they ask you questions, give it to them. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity right there in the face of the challenge. So if there's a challenge coming your way, there's an assign, there's something, a problem, there's an issue, say there's an issue, and what's the opportunity that I could actually use this for? And you're going to use that, you're going to see that, mamish, it's amazing. In every single challenge there's an opportunity. So the other kids in the house are going to gain immensely from having a struggling teen. You could ask my kids. They've seen a lot. They've seen a stepfather that was struggling with Yiddishkeit. They've seen the oldest brother, my oldest child is struggling. And all my other kids are shining away. Because I had an opportunity to give them over Yiddishkeit that I would never be able to bring it up, these conversations. When they asked me kashas, I'm in this field, so I knew most of the teritzim, but I didn't know. I said, I'm going to get back to you. I went onto Eish.com. I went onto Erosameh. Serious. We need to make Baal Shivas in our own home. We all need to be Baal Shivas. I'm speaking for myself, sorry. I'm seeing it from a perspective of the beauty of the Geschmack Tzazana Yid. If the Lunim and Atomim is not a theoretical thing, it's a real thing. It's as real as it gets. Being part of Klal Yisrael, being part of a Yiddish home, yeah.
Are you able to give examples of questions that they would bring up and how you're able to bring it out in a beautiful way?
I should bring examples of
an opportunity you had.
millions. I should give examples. Why does Hashem care? I'll give you an example that just came up in school actually. One of the girls asked me, why does Hashem care that I have a tissue in my pocket on Shabbos and there's no Erev? Do you think that Hashem cares? God that created the whole world and the universe and thousands of galaxies, and every galaxy has I don't know how many stars and everything that goes around it, and the black hole, and today we see everything, we know how it looks like. And He created the mountains and the oceans and the lions and the orchids and the honeybees. Cares, I'm not going to say in the language that she used, that if I have a tissue in my pocket on Shabbos, come on! And if He does, come on, tell Him to grow up. When a child asks you a question like that, to say, such an awesome question. Does Hashem care what I eat? I was in the airport, and all the goyim, they're sitting, they check in, they're waiting a long time, there's beautiful restaurants, sitting down over there and just eating and enjoying, and we have to come with the silver paper, and then wrapping it up, and it's running out, and the whole backpack turns into a matzah and to... Does Hashem really care? Of course, He validates to say, yeah, it's actually a very good question. I never thought of it. Or maybe I did think of it. There's something called royalty. A royal family. The chief rabbi of England, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, he shared a beautiful story, and that's what I told the girl. There was a interfaith meeting in the palace by the queen. Also, I don't know what to say. So that we talking about just a few years ago, and there was like a whole day. They brought all the world leaders. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was one of the birthdays for the Queen, and of course he had to go. He was the chief rabbi of the Orthodox Commonwealth of Linga. Yeah, how did he call it? He was knighted also by the Queen. So he came there for Shabbos, and it wasn't over a Shabbos and over a Sunday, the weekend, and they invited him, and he said, listen, I'm an Orthodox Jew, I need to eat kosher, and I need to have other people where I could go out of the palace, go to a certain place to have a minyan. If you give me everything that I need, I'll join for Shabbos. I would love to, but I'm going to join for Shabbos. And they said, of course, absolutely, they're going to, and they got Kadasi, and he had his whole own... so he said there was a meeting over this big room, and there was one table, kosher kailim was kashered, the royal beautiful dishes, everything was kashered and toivel. There's a mashgiach standing there for the I think it was him and maybe another Rav was there, and they had a kosher meal. And then they were asked to go into another area where there's another big meeting and another big thing, and he figured that's going to be some shalshidas, and there's no kosher food over there. So he took himself a plate, and he put in a little bilkala and whatever he needed, and he was walking like that to the other room, seeing all this royal people. The king of Jordan was there, everybody was there. And today's king in England is the son, I forgot his name. George, whatever it was. And he was very close to him. He loved the Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, and he was walking with him, and he said, "Rabbi, what are you doing?" He said that that I have special, how do you say it? Dietary needs and a special amiyid and she said, "So where are you carrying this?" He said, "I'm not sure if you have in the other room kosher for me." He said, "What do you think? I'm going to forget about you. There's another over there." But he hugged him, he put it down on the table, and he hugged. This is something they don't do. He hugged him. And he said, "Wow, you just validated me for my life." He said, "My mother, when I grew up, she said, you're a prince. You can't just eat McDonald's. It's not healthy. You can't just eat a cheeseburger in the morning. It's going to kill your stomach. You can't just eat out of paper dishes. You're a prince. You need to have, we're going to serve you. And you have to have a food spice, what's it called, appetizer, and the main course, and then it has to be served on doilies on a nice, beautiful." So Rabbi Jonathan said, "Wow." He got his validation, and he got his validation. And this is what I told the girls. I said, "Listen, if you are a nobody cares what you do, what you eat, where you go, how you... If you are a royal child, you're a bas melech, you are someone that Hashem cares about. He knows what's good for you, and He says, I don't want you to just eat a cheeseburger. I want you to eat meat from an animal that was slaughtered b'derech haTorah, that has the least pain ever. I don't want you to just eat off the store shelf like all the other people around you, that the cow was tortured until it died, and all the parts of it was eaten. I want you to have melicha, to salt it properly." And you know how many goyim around the world eat only kosher? I have an uncle that's very into the kosher business, and he said in Iowa and different states where there's no yeast to be found, thousands and thousands of containers of food go there a month, where certain goyim would only eat kosher meat. We're royal. You can't just eat what you want. Of course it comes along with certain moments. You can't eat in the airport, I get it. And they loved it, they bought it, because this is the truth. A ben melech and a bas melech cannot just do what you want. It's not because we are limited, it's because we are privileged. And Hashem cares if you talk lashon hara about someone, yes. And Hashem cares if you lose something. He wants another year to find it and to go do mitzvahs hashuvas havayda, not just to pocket it. Hashem cares about you. He wants to force you to rest every Shabbos. He wants you to enjoy the Shabbos. He wants you to disconnect from the world. He wants you to give up your phone on Shabbos. He wants you to... We are royal people. So this is one example. Another example, you like that? Okay, another example that I can share with you. I'll do it quickly. Yeah.
When the non, so to speak, struggling child questions what the struggling child is doing, whether it's not keeping Shabbos or any other action?
Right. That's a very good question. They question. They see
you're handling the other kid.
the way you're handling the other kid, the struggling child, and the way.
They watch this. Why are you bringing this into the house?
Right. You tell them. I think that vulnerability is the best. What?
I think that's more the question.
That's more the question. Yes, got it. It's the vulnerability of us parenting nowadays, and when our times, at least in my times, when I was growing up, when Zadie was young, the parents didn't know how to be vulnerable to children. They didn't know how to be real and authentic and share that they're also human. They felt it's like a breach, that we're not going to respect them anymore. We weren't even allowed to know their age, right? What?
We still don't know how to because we were never taught how to.
Right, so that's why we come for Shabbos like this and we learn. Yes, you're right, but we listen to more and more lectures and learning on how to be able to tell your child, my dear child, I always have shortcomings. My dear child, I went for Shabbos to learn how to deal with our sibling. I went for Shabbos, yes. Because Tati and Mami were great people. We know everything, but we don't know. We're missing. We went to pick up more information. And we're learning how to deal with our struggling child, struggling sibling. And we were taught that we have to give them extra, because one of the things they're missing, they need some extra attachment, extra better, more love. They went through some traumas or whatever it is that triggered them to be that way. Sometimes we know what it is, sometimes we don't know. But regardless, we went to learn how to just nurture them back to be able to make smart choices in their life. And that's why we're doing certain things. But if it's hard for you to see the way we give in to that kid too much, or it's hard for you to see why we let them destroy our Shabbos table and we let them walk around not sneeze, or a bacha with a smartphone in a house let's say a house that doesn't let any smartphones. We are being trained, and this is what we do. But definitely, we are very proud of you for not being that way. And if you have any question further, you could always come to me. We're here for you. You need to vent about it. We could get you to talk to a therapist. You can talk to us. We'll make space for you. We want to hear. We want to encourage you, and let you understand what we're doing with the other child. You're not responsible for your sibling. The parents are responsible. You have to make sure to say that. I've seen it time and time and time again, that the siblings feel like a certain responsibility on their sibling that's destroying it. If it's one child after, one child older, and they take take it off their shoulder. They're carrying themselves. And you could tell them the famous line, my famous line, the line that I always use, which is, we need to care, we don't need to carry. We need to care for our children. We need to care for Klal Yisrael. Carry yourself. Caring is good enough. Caring is, you care for another Yid. Your child, any struggle, whatever it is in life. But don't carry everybody's burdens. You're not helping them by carrying their emotional needs. If you care for them, of course, whatever you're able to give them. Don't carry. I mean, it's easy to say, hard to do. As parents, we feel like we need to carry, our whole family. We need to carry the whole Klal Yisrael on us. You need to care. You need to do something, say a tefillah for them. Do a deed, whatever you can to help another Yid. Don't carry everybody. You can't. You're going to explode. You're not God. The Rebbeinu Shalom could carry everybody. So we tell our other kids, you don't need to carry them. Don't need to carry your sister, your brother. It's good. Let them. They're going through their stages. You could help us. You could be nice to them. You could do something extra. You could give them a good word. You could give them a compliment. And that's going to help them stay where they are and not turn into a struggling child themselves, because you're helping someone, then they're actually doing a shlichus. It's like the Lubavitchers. I'm not a Lubavitcher, but there's a lot of things to learn from them. They have shlichim all around the world. They have people living in Wyoming and Mississippi and the Amazon and some of a friend of mine told me now he was in Iceland, in Greenland, and there was a Chabad shliach there. And then they have children growing up, Erlich Yidden, between the lowest of the lowest of the lowest going around them. How are they able to do it? There's one trick. That their kids are not that much more educated than us, than our kids. If they're being told you have a shlichus, you have a mission to help the Rebbeinu Shalom, you have a shlichus to put on film to another Yid, and to help another lady light Shabbos candles, and to be motzanis, and to do other things, then not only they're not going to become like them, they're going to become better Yidden. And that's exactly what's happening. Whenever you are, if my mission is to help my parents and to be nice to my sibling, because my parents gave me like a good feeling of you are helping out, you could be nice to your sibling, then not only am I not going to get influence from my sibling, I'm going to become a more proud Yid. This is something that's going to be given to us. In the 1970s, I said it here once. In the 1970s, there was a general in the army, the Israeli army, that a Lubavitcher guy wanted to join his group to come into his kvutza, and he said, "No way, this guy is not joining the army. He's not joining my group." He's a Frei Yid that hated Frimi Yid. He thinks he hates Frimi Yid. Deep inside, they all love us. It's just his pain. And so he went to the general above him said, "Well, why do you care? Just taking this guy. Why do you care if you take him in?" He said, "No, you don't understand. Last time I had a Chabadski in my group, the whole group it came from." And we are so worried that Chaz v'Shulam, there's a whole protest. I was just there last week, driving down the street, and I was for an hour, missed an appointment, because there was a Havguna by the corner, people laying on the floor. Okay, they made L'Shem Shemayim, maybe, I don't know, it's a conversation on its own. But Lamas, what are they protesting? That the children shouldn't be drafted in the army. Why are we scared? That one of our kids are going to go in the army, they'll become Frei. And over here, you have this Frei general is scared of this Chabadski because his whole audience is going to become from. So what is Chabad doing different? And I'll think to myself, Chaz v'Shalom, my child will join the army. Is he going to remain from, let alone not make Bat Shivas? Is he going to stay from? What am I doing? But because they are being told that your whole tachlis in this world is to spread Hashem's light around the world. And we don't need to be a Chabadski shlich to sit in Wyoming and put on tefillin on someone. It's in your own house, it's in your own neighborhood, it's the own person in Shield, the other person in the grocery that you meet, and in the store, and you have a shlichus, and we all have a shlichus. We all shlichus from the Rabbanu Shalom. To what? To do chesed, to say a gidvar, to see another lady there, you would say, "How are you? You're doing great today, your baby looks so cute." You see another Eden Besmed, she looks to him, it's amazing, I see you every day over here. How are you feeling? You weren't here yesterday, what's machste? This is shlichus. Shlichus. And if a yid like this walks at the shul, you don't say, I don't want my son to chaver with that boy. Right? We all have this. That's when our children start, and then our neighbors stop talking to our kids, and then this hurts them even more, whatever. They don't see the opportunity in that challenge. They're not trying, Baruch Hashem, they don't understand, but really, it sounds like this happens. Why are you so scared that your child is going to have a friend? Tell your daughter to be nice to that neighbor that just put on pants. Be nice to her. Be a makara, she's in pain. Give her chizik. Your child is not going to become like that, kid. And I hope many people are seeing this on the camera. I just had a story like Mom recently, and it's cooking in me. There was a girl in Williamsburg she's going through her stage. The next door neighbor knows that I know this family, called me up and said, my daughter was best friends with this kid. I told my daughter not to talk to her anymore. We live in one building. They have to pass the stairways every day. Yeah, everybody's nodding. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I understand that person, but that's naive. Hashem gave you a challenge. Hashem gave a challenge to the whole building. Hashem gave a challenge to the whole neighborhood to deal with this kid. It's not like your kid move out.
There's no such thing anymore as bad influence.
What?
There's no such
Influence is only when you don't have a mission. That's exactly what we're talking about. I cannot get influenced by you if I'm here to influence you. I'm here to influence someone else, they cannot influence me. It has to go either way. If you're being told, your children, that Yiddishkeit is selfishness, you do mitzvahs and maaseh tov. You're not a chrayas for Klal Yisrael. We're exclusive. Our kehillah doesn't let in people that do certain things on Shabbos. What are you doing? You're creating yourself that if any storm, any new movement, Chaz Hashem, happens in the world, this kehillah is going to be the first one to go down. The kehillah that's understanding, that of course, my avodah Hashem is my avodah Hashem, but my biggest avodah Hashem is to make sure to be nice to Andri, and whatever it is, to create an environment in Besmedish that I daven every day, to influence every person around me. I think nobody's going to influence me if I'm here to influence others. And we have a point of case right over here in front of our eyes. Look at Chabad and many others. I'm just using them as a example. I just happen to know about them. They are not being influenced by no one. You'll find a tiny percentage of them who, I don't know if their percentage of falling out is less than us or more than us. I don't know. Us meaning they're not Chabadskers. But the moment you understand that or you give or you take, it's no other way. It's the other way. If you're a taker, yeah, tomorrow, and you know what? You can't even shelter your kids all the time. Nowadays, for sure not. And if you're not training all your children to be a shlichus, a missionary for Hashem in the world, they are very susceptible to the infection of what's going on in the world, the virus. That another boy is going to come to him and give him a smartphones into the tish, which we know the percentages are skyrocketing. Skyrocketing. I know exactly what's going on in the good yeshivas and the good schools. I know exactly what's going on. I'm there. I'm working with this all my life. So the kids that were not told by their parents that every time you do a mitzvah, it's not only a mitzvah for yourself, it's a mitzvah for the whole Klal Yisrael. The Gemara says every time you do a mitzvah, you have to see as if the world was an avuksha, and one more mitzvah and the whole world is kalschus. As Hasidim, we do this a lot, and it's not only from Hasidim. The Arizal said, every time you do a mitzvah before you start davening, that I'm davening for the whole Klal Yisrael. I'm not just davening for myself. It's such a selfish Yiddishkeit. When I daven for the ganze Welt. I'm just davening for myself. The B'Shem Kol Yisrael, B'Shem Yichit Shebrichi, even the ones that don't say B'Shem Yichit. Hinni Mechazimen, B'Shem Kol Yisrael, that every mitzvah that I do is for the whole Klal Yisrael. This is a chinuch method. It's a shame that it was lost. It's a lost art that not everybody's giving it over. We have it, we're confused about it. We need to be very clear. Chinuch is telling your child that you are doing mitzvahs and matzah. Not only you're going to go to Gan Eden, you're going to go to Gehenna D'Avayrik. The whole world needs our mitzvahs. You're doing a mitzvah, the whole world is getting more shefa. You're saying a brucha in Wyoming there's going to grow better apples. It's exactly like that. Look in the Torah. I said, "Till Udam Rishon didn't daven," right? You remember that? Nothing grew. Hashem gave a koich, and it's not about me. It's about Hashem. My mitzvah and masata is not about me going to Gan Eden. And if you live that way, nobody can influence me. And if your child lives that way, nobody can influence them. And if an interesting looking person walks into the shul, or your neighbor's child that's off and decided to come to shul with the big tattoos, and you go over, Shem Aleichem, here's a coffee, feel yourself comfortable over here, and your child sees that, your child is not going to go off so fast. Your child is going to do the same thing. That's something that we need to understand. That our other kids at home are not going to fall and drop like the other kids. If we tell them how important they are to us and helping us, the family try to. And if a child happens to go into their own journeys, like the older sibling, even after living like this, that means that they had to go through that journey anyway. There's nothing to do. If the older kid wouldn't be there, that kid will still go through it. Because some kids have certain pains and certain issues that they have, which traumas or whatever they went through, they still need to go through that journey. But nobody gets influenced just by seeing another sibling like that. If they're being told that let's do this mission together, it's us. We are. You not take responsibility. Again, you say it a million times. Us parents take responsibility. But we are all together a team, and Hashem put us together in this house. Let's all together. I shared once a story that my daughter didn't want to come down to Shabbos Seder many times. It was the beginning when she was going through her journey, and okay, so I started davening. It was not like yesterday the play. We're waiting for Moshe. So I waited a few minutes. She didn't come down. So we ate the meal, Shabbos Seder, and then I went upstairs to my room to go to sleep at night. And I see in my daughter's room on the floor, there's a tray with the challah, fish, soup, the meat, beautiful napkins, cutlery. And I asked my wife, "Did you prepare this for her?" She said, "No." I got right away. I have a 12-year-old son, my Yitzchak. And I went, "Yitzchak, did you put that tray there?" He said, "Yeah. She didn't come down to the meal. She's going to wake up soon and she's going to be so hungry. I want to make sure that she has..." So he was like, thank you. I had this conversation with him many, many times. You think he's going to get influenced? He's not going to get influenced. He's the influencer. He's so excited to just take care of his sister. Agit Vart. He asked me many times, like quietly, like in his own age, and the next son, my 9-year-old, "Sag sie sagen die nahe person geschehen oder nicht?" I said, "Wie soll du feels? If you want to tell her, tell her. She'll be very happy if you tell her." And guess what? She likes a compliment even from a younger brother. Don't be scared to go into that waters. Yiddishkeit prevails. Yiddishkeit is real. Yiddishkeit is strong. Nothing can... If you're scared of your own Yiddishkeit, all the kids are going to feel it. Don't be scared. We were in Gulas the last 2,000 years. We were thrown into nations back and forth. We're still here. It's quite... We were influenced by the Greeks and the Romans. Every type of... Our children have it in their genes. We have the most powerful genes ever. We have 2,000 years of fighter genes. It's like a link, a chain that has links. They say a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. All of us that are here from is because we had our Zaydis and Babas and all the way up till Matan Torah with such strong links, going through every wind and every gulas and every problem and every tzura, and we're still here. That means it's in our genes. We're the biggest fighters. Rabbi Yochanan said, he foresaw the future, he said, thank you Hashem for putting me down now and not the last door before Mashiach. I would never be able to survive to be a Fnei Yid in those years. I'd probably pick up my garment to run to do Avaida. So we're living it here now. We're being faced with something that the last 3 years, the last 2 hours, and 2 hours from now is going to be even worse the way the world is. And we're strong and we're going as much as we can. You know why? Because you have 2,000 years of genes of parents that are fighters. We're not give-uppers. And our children are even one generation later. The last generation is the most powerful generation. Achrein, achrein, chovev. Yeah, you know, leave a song. Achrein, achrein, chovev. Mashiach didn't come to them, he's coming to us. And our kids need to know this and hear this, and we talk to them about Stolz zu sein Ayid, the Stolz von der jüdische Volk, and the Scheinkeit von Ayid, the Scheinkeit von HaShabbos, the Scheinkeit von Tznius, the Scheinkeit von alles. I had a girl in our school. You know, Tznius obviously is the struggle that a girl has, and these girls that are going through their journey are really, really struggling with Tznius. So one day I decided, I give a lecture over there once a day, a thinking class. And one day I decided, I told the girls, I want to talk about personal space. That was the whole topic. So I said personal space is that when you talk to another person, imagine someone stands and talks to me. There's a certain amount of distance the way we're, right? But if it's a very crowded room, you stand close to that person on a city bus. But if the room is empty, you wouldn't stand like that close to someone, right? But imagine someone is there and I'm here. That's for sure not. There's no... So what is it? There's about, I think, 17 to 22 inches from the point of one person's nose to the other, on average, in an empty room when they speak. People that are not close to each other. I'm not talking about husband and wife or brother and sister. On average. Did anybody teach it to you? You learned, it's just given to us. Some people need to be taught. Not everybody catches on to social cues, but there's a certain distance. It's my space and your space. It's arm length. Yeah, some people talk you in the face a little too much. You back up and they come again. They're missing that tiny cue. They're great people. It's just they're missing it. But it's okay. Imagine you walk down to the park and there's a person sitting, let's say a man. I'm walking down in a park and there's a bench as big as a table. There's a woman sitting here and I want to sit down. Where am I going to sit? Over here? I'm going to sit right over here. Right? On a full busy city bus, with any empty seat, you just sit down. But if it's empty, the bus, you sit over there. You walk down the street, someone comes across you, and if it's a woman or someone else, naturally you both come, and you make a little space, and then you continue, right? A certain space around the person. So let's talk about space to the girls. Then I talked about, so that's personal space. And then I talked about shared space. So I said, look at the kitchen counter. We have a nice kitchen over there. This kitchen counter is shared space. It's not only my space. My night table near my bed is my space. And when I blow my nose and I didn't have time to go to put into the dustbin, into the garbage, I'm allowed to put my tissue down on my night table. But would you put down after blowing your nose a tissue on the countertop? It's shared space. Right? It's shared space. So naturally you don't do it. It's not your space, it's a shared space. So I'll talk about shared space. Then I was talking about space in the 5 senses. How about airspace? EAR space. If I'm sleeping and it's 12 o'clock at night, okay, in our dorm, Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of noise at night, the other girl is sleeping, you're putting on music, you invaded their space, their airspace, their EAR space. That person is sleeping, it's Gezel Shina. You woke up someone. You can't say, I want to hear the music. If she doesn't want, let her close her ears. No. If it's the middle of the day, it's not a time to sleep, maybe, debatable. And how about smell space? The same thing, obviously. You can't make foul smell in front of another person. You're invading someone else's space. And then we'll talk about all the other space, and then we'll talk about eye space. Sight. I said, in America, in New York City, you can't walk out totally naked in the streets. Everybody understands that. You can't say, you shouldn't look. It's my body, my life. I want to live like this. You're invading someone else's eye space. It's unverständlich. I left the conversation there. And this conversation went on 45 minutes and back and forth. We're all sharing their stories. And that's all I was talking about. Within a few minutes, one of the girls said, now I get it. So when I come down to the Shabbos Seder with my miniskirt without tights, and my brother-in-law, which is making kiddush like that, I'm invading his space, his eye space. It's just like for me putting on a tissue on his bed, like that I just blew my nose with. I'm not allowed to do it. I'm hurting him. And then the other girls, it was like I didn't say a word, Sinias. I didn't say the word Sinias. It's a trigger. Terrible word, Sinias. For the girls. Unfortunately, because it was given over to them sometimes in the very wrong way, or they took it in the wrong way. But it's a trigger. So what happened was, the next week or 2 weeks later, I got phone calls and messages from a few parents. What did you say? Did you talk about Sinias in your school? A lot of girls changed. The girls, one parent sent me a text that there was a simcha, and her daughter came to that simcha with a regular long, maybe madden, whatever it is, but a long skirt. She never walks around like that. She understood, I'm taking away other people's comfortability. This is a place where everybody dresses tznius. How could I walk, not tznius, covered, how can I walk in, or respectful, how can I walk in irrespectful, unrespectful in this place? That's how you teach tznius. That is tznius. You can't say, let him not look. It doesn't work like that. Let him close the ears while they're sleeping. It doesn't go like that. It's someone else's space. Yeah. So
No, I was just going to add to what you were saying before. It's such a shkach that you brought in what you brought in about, I happen to be a lavater. So you reminded me of what I know internally. Someone once asked one of the rabbis, how do you go into these dark places and not get affected?
Right.
And there's a quote that one of the fifth Chabad rabbis said, a chassid is a lamchernish, a chassid is a lamplighter.
Yes.
When he's busy lighting one Hashem after another, Hashem after another, Hashem being the lamplighter, he can't get infected himself.
Exactly. It's perfect mushal talk. Yeah, I remember that. You're right. Thank you for reminding me. One of the Bauchi Rebbes, I'm just repeating, they didn't hear you, that he said that chusa, the person that goes out, is a lamplighter. Like they used to walk around with the lamps. If you're a lamplighter, you can't get influence. You're the one influencing. And that's for sure. And this is something, yeah.
And I think also it's practical for us. I think many of us share this, like to understand like different ages. When we're explaining can we explain what we learned here in a practical way? Meaning, can we explain to our 10, 11-year-olds, our 12-year-olds, that our child is in pain, and just like the way we look, let's say, a child.
Yeah, very good question. Very good question. Yeah, I'm happy to bring it up. We need to talk about it.
We look at it. We understand it's a medication. It's a numbing tool. It's a painkiller.
Right. I get your question.
11-year-olds who are looking at it and can't understand how is he able to sit on a phone for 12 hours?
Right.
How come he could play all those games?
Right. So she's asking, what do we do if the other kids are asking about the child that's struggling, on why they're doing it, and can we tell the other child that your sibling is in pain and that's why they're doing it and they're going through a inner struggle? And the answer is yes, absolutely, and you should tell them and say that this is their struggle, and we all have our own struggles, we all have different things. I'm gonna what?
Is there a minimum age?
Probably 7 and up. I'm assuming every child is different, but I'm going to leave you off with a story that I once shared in Kesher. Nafshi already. I have to go, but I once shared already. I think that it's just going to wrap up this topic that we're talking about. A year ago, I took the girls when the school started. I was still the bus driver, and I'm still doing 25 hats, but at least I don't have to drive anymore. But at that time, I drove them. We have like this big Sprinter. We took all the girls upstate to the mountains. There was a place that went boating, and the councils went along. I dropped them off, and I left. And when they were done, I picked them up. And the girls came. They were jumping into the lake and everything. They were dripping with water and everything. And they were starving, hungry. And I found that there's a kosher pizza store in the neighborhood that's open year-round, upstate in Fallsburg or somewhere. So I went to the pizza store. I took the girls, and then we walk in. And it was quite empty, in the middle of the, it was after the summer. And there was a couple sitting over there, a Chassidish couple, a 60-year-old couple. And this person looks at me like, this is the weirdest scene ever. You see me walking in with at the time, there's 15, 16 girls that looked like tzaddikim gemirim, like the Marish before the chet, they didn't even have a chet, that's how tzaddikim they are. And the whole thing didn't make sense. They were like, judging, I'm telling you, the judging. I wasn't projecting, they were taka judging. How do I know? Because he calls me over and he says, "Wer sind die Menschen, du? Who are these people?" And I said, naturally, I said, these are my sisters. He's like, he couldn't handle it. Oh, fine. And the girls were ordering this one pizza, this one with French fries. And his wife was like, she was cooking. It was like boiling like a boiling machine, like a pressure cooker. And she calls over one of the girls. And actually 2 girls came over. She says, "Die schämst dich nicht." She started, and the girl says, "I'm sorry, I don't understand Yiddish." She said a very good Yiddish. I don't understand what you're saying. And she said, "That's how you go dressed, and this guy, Tzanias, everything is showing out," and she was being so explicit, like, she couldn't contain herself. And this girl, she started up with the wrong girl. And the girl said, I know, this is my struggle. Can you give me a bracha that I shouldn't struggle with Tzanias anymore? I should give you after that. And she's like, "These guys, you just have to buy the bigger clothing, just go into the store, you know what, you need to, what?" I know, but this is my struggle. Can you give me a bracha? And she screamed back and forth. I know. It didn't get anywhere. This girl switched to Yiddish and said, "Be ashamed, be embarrassed of yourself. I have my struggles, and my struggles on the open. You're seeing my struggles. You also have struggles. It's just hidden. Nobody sees them. This is my struggle, and I'm asking you for a bracha. You couldn't give it to me?" And she walked away. And then they went to the big room in the back. The girls were eating. And I was waiting the side, I let them do theirs. And then as they're leaving the store, this woman got up, went to that girl and hugged her, and cried. And she said, "I could be your grandmother, but you gave me a lesson that nobody in the world has ever. It's so true. I have my struggles and you have your struggles. I'm really sorry that I attacked you like that." I get into again.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.